All right. They come down from that scenario, and they get a day arrest. You might think, hey, you took eight killed and multiple more wounded. Hey, we'll give you some time off. They got time off 1 day. 1 day arrest, and then they're back on the march. Back to the book. The column marched north in a cold, swirling wind that swept the road clear of snow. We put on the ponchos again to help ward off the wind. They soon froze stiff and crackled as we walked. And if you notice, as they left that other situation, the rain turned to sleet and then to snow. So that's like in 1 hour, winter was here. And so now you're gonna start hearing about the cold big time. The men were in a foul temper. What kind of stupid bastards we got running this goddamn war came from the column. Don't worry about them guys running this goddamn war. They're sitting by a stove someplace, sticking pins in their maps. Yeah, and they'll get their pick of cold weather gear before they send it up to us poor suckers. Guy in the battalion mess line said them rear echelon bastards are already wearing big fur coats and winter issue boots. That's okay. We'll get the stuff next spring. Sure, what's left of it, by the time it gets to us, we'll be needing jungle gear. So these guys are just letting out their frustration and anger. The worst suffering that day came from our feet. We only had thin cotton socks under the boondockers, little protection from the cold, especially as they were still damp under our leggings. We stomped away the pain of the freezing toes, and kept the blood circulating. There were complaints of numbness. Some men felt as if they had pebbles in their socks. We didn't know about frostbite yet. If you don't know what boondockers are, they're your basic, like the most basic form of a boot. Leather, rubber sole. That's it. That's what boondockers are. They got cotton socks. Now, they get some new gear. And one of the pieces that they get is called shoe packs. Going to the book. Shoe packs would change the way we walked and bring us the crippling scourge of frostbite. They were big and cumbersome, twice the weight of our boondockers. They had thick molded rubber bottoms with heavily cleated soles. The tops, from the ankle up to the shin, were made of stiff leather that laced tightly. Shoe packs were clumsy for climbing and slippery on the ice. The worst thing about them, however, was that when they were laced up, no air could circulate. On a steep climb or on a long march, our feet would sweat no matter how cold it was. When we stopped moving and the cold set in, the sweat-soaked felt inserts and socks would freeze. Long stretches of wet, frozen feet spelled frostbite. And I don't know if you remember this from the last one we did, and I didn't include it, but one of the videos that they showed later to the soldiers and Marines that were going over to Korea was to warn them of frostbite, and it was the doctors with the frostbitten feet, and they weren't surgically removing the toes; they would just like break them off, because they were just frozen dead toes, and they would just break it. That's the video they showed them. Hey, keep your feet dry. Dang. But it was these poorly designed shoes was one of the problems that they try. Oh, we'll make these guys these super warm boots. It's not that easy. Yeah. It's not that easy. You make them so warm and so waterproof, no air escapes from them. Now you got sweaty feet. Now your feet are going to freeze.